This is Pat Salter with The Doctor Weighs In, and I'm having a reunion. These are my co-authors, David Metcalf, who is the director of Metal, and want to tell us just a little bit about that, David?
Yeah, sure. It's a technology development lab at University of Central Florida's Institute for Simulation and Training, where we get to play with some of the latest healthcare and educational IoT tools.
He has a cool job. And Rick Crone, who's the president of HealthSense, and you want to tell us what on earth is HealthSense?
Yeah, HealthSense since 1998 has been a business transformation and product development consulting practice focused exclusively on connected health.
And I have to say, I had a call, I think from Rick, a couple of years ago saying, would I get involved in a book that you were doing, because you guys have done like a library of books together, and you had an idea that I would do all these video interviews with people who are movers and shakers really in digital health, and it was so much fun because we ended up with people like Eric Topol and Daniel Kraft, and I mean really truly the movers and shakers, and produced a fantastic book. So I want to thank you for including me, you guys.
Well, we wanted to thank you for doing that, for taking our crazy idea to have an interactive book and try and kind of practice what we preach, go to that next level. So you really outdid yourself with the interviews that you got, the depth that was there too. It really took the book to the next level to really humanize it and also give that those interactive elements to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, we added a dimension of value to the book because it was more than just words on a page. It was, interviews with, as you say, the movers and shakers, the thought leaders. But also, it gave the reader something tactile, something more, engaging to sort of, capture and maintain their interest.
Well, it was fun. So, but I know you guys have moved on because, David, I know you have at least another book. And were you on the other book?
Not this one.
Yeah, we did one for blockchain-enabled applications, which is about 20% about healthcare and how blockchain technology is changing some of the way that we do the financial side of healthcare, but also the way we track records and have this long-time record store of that too. This distributed ledger is what they call it, of all the transactions that might be going on in a particular healthcare area or hospital, and that's some of the different focus areas we chose to work on in our blockchain-enabled applications book.
You're always on the cutting edge, and I know that you guys just did kind of a main stage gig here at HIMSS, if I've got it right, and you were talking about AR and VR, is that right?
It is, and we were focused, the title of our presentation was Virtual Reality Gets Real in Healthcare, and it was really sort of a follow-up to the presentation that we did last year, which was Welcome to Virtual Reality in Healthcare. What we did this year that was different was there was more of a focus on applications, on where it's really actually gaining traction, what some of the the landscape looks like, what the future might hold. And then David took a deeper dive in the presentation, sort of describing some of the real, well, I'll let David describe it, but it was taking a lot of what I was talking about, which was theory and abstract, and making it real.
So we won't be able to get all of them in, but why don't you give me your most favorite real-life application?
Well, we've got a request to go and build a holographic social companion robot for Orlando Health and partnership with UCF. So that's been a really fun project. And we get to see some real evidence and results of people being more comfortable talking to the robot about sensitive issues like their social and distress history, things like that you would normally be a little uncomfortable telling a nurse or a doctor about, but they're more than happy to tell the little social companion robot about all those things. So those are some of the evidence-based approach, not just, ooh, wow, we have a new toy in the lab or in the clinic. This has some practical applications that could lead to better health outcomes, could lead to cost savings, and that's what's kind of exciting too, is that this year we're seeing more of those too in all sorts of areas of healthcare.
Yeah, I have to say that one of the things in all the time that I've been in digital health, which isn't that long because digital health is not that old, this is the year that it feels like we're getting real. We are getting real products that are making a real difference and bringing us measurable outcomes. So it's pretty exciting. Of course, the next step after that is corporatization. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But let me finish up here, Rick, by asking you what your favorite VR, AR, real-life app is.
Well, there's plenty, and what we're finding is that this year there is tenfold versus last year. But the one that I was most intrigued by was one that was, and this is just my opinion, was one that has been developed for older patients. On one side, it's for medical professionals, residents, students, and it's called We Are Alfred. And what it does is it lets the resident experience life as a 74-year-old man with some health difficulties, something that they couldn't possibly do otherwise. And it gives them a certain empathy and a certain understanding of what it must be like to live your life as a 74-year-old man. At the same time, that same app can detect early evidence of dementia through just tracking data and actually accumulating it, and an AI sort of algorithm that's incorporated into it. So it's more than just an experience, a patient experience. It's actually a diagnostic and treatment tool.
Well, that sounds really interesting, although I'd really be interested to know how these 29-year-old residents feel about being 74, because it's going to happen to all of them.
That's right. Yeah, and it's something that you can't duplicate otherwise. So it's giving the resident, the student, and it's not just students. It could be midterm professionals learning about a new surgical technique, or it could be a nurse learning how to deal with a difficult patient, or it's situations that you can not only replicate, but you can correct behaviors. It's really fascinating the way this can be used as an education device.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me here today, and I realize that we're a little crowded in this recording session, but I want to say to everybody out there, if you get a chance to meet these guys, do. If you get a chance to read these guys' work, do, because they are at the cutting edge of healthcare, and they're also a whole lot of fun. So thank you very much, you guys.